I wonder if they can figure out copyright infringement on humming. Maybe I shouldn't push it.
As soon as the YouTube page comes up.
You say that right at the beginning? You're so down. How we doing, team? Just got to work out beforehand, so a little bit loopy and happy, which is a good thing. So we're going to start out doing the same old thing that we always do. It's going to be kind of a more low-key workout, or who knows, maybe I'll push the core a little bit. Who knows? But we're going to start on the wall, hands on the wall. 10 side kicks, 10 forward kicks, as always. Once again, if you hate watching me do the warm-up, just fast forward to about 15 minutes. And if you're watching the second hand, if you're watching this live, unfortunate for you. Unless you're joining in. Even then, sometimes I can get the iron rig sitting on the couch, eat some potato chips, watch people work out. I'm sure lots of people did that with their Tybo videos, or whatever fitness videos they've had, just sitting in on the iron. Transmit spider to spider. Little hugs. Big hugs. Not little. This isn't a little job, Chuck. It's like I hear. Let's see what. Somebody there? Oh. Yeah. We'll be doing a deep cleaning up here very soon. Go back on our heels, up on our toes. Just commenting on the cobwebs and stuff. Sure, a lot of gyms have been gathering dust. I don't know. That's spider carp, dude. That's a lot of wood. Of course, what's this going? Let's go arms outstretched, small circles forward, slowly send to bigger and larger circles. Breathing all the while, in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Should be self-explanatory. Always be locking your breath to your movement. Movement to your breath, vice versa. All right, let's go big breath in, Chuck, and exhale out. Go hips forward, go whoever else is watching. And touch those toes. Don't walk it out. Press the tops of your feet down there, and then we'll look. Shouldn't feel like much of a strain. Big breath in, exhale out, dive it on in. And exhale out, child's pose. All right, hands under our shoulders, knees under our hips. Let's get some good cat and cow stretches going. Breath in, exhale out. Never hold your breath. Once again, locking your breath to your movement. On the exhale, let's get some pointer dogs. Opposite hand, opposite foot. Reaching out. let's flip over to our backside. So we're going to be working on some concepts that are going to help us out with all this quote unquote preemptive defense that I'm going to be showing today. As many as I can remember, as much as possible here. So the first one is going to be the byte sequence. Okay, so this is something you can practice on your own. So instead of just lifting my hips up here, I'm going to imagine I'm closing my guard here. Okay, because this is going to be square one for a lot of situations. But not only am I thinking about closing my guard, I'm going to be pressing my heels down into the mat, right? And I'm going to be lifting my hips as high as they possibly can on this. And obviously keeping my head and my neck safe by keeping my chin to my chest here, okay? So the workout on this is I'm going to bring my knees over my hip line. I'll move my head to the side here, and I'll bring my knees across here because I don't want somebody's head to come straight down on me. So I'll go hips up, breathe in, exhale out, and I'll do this to the other side, okay? So we're just going to do this 5 times each side. I know Chuck and I and our core is a little tired, so we're just going to do 5 times each side on this, okay? So go hips up, break those legs down to the side. Up, break them down slightly to the side. I think that's 2 on each side. Just count 10 in our head, or yeah, 10 in our head. Three more myself. Awesome. So next thing, pendulum. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. We're going to start doing the one that we start on our side here. Bottom leg straight, rather bottom leg bent, top leg straight here, okay? Going to be swinging at a 45-degree angle. I'm moving my leg off to the left side here, okay? So one big thing on this, I know I've been talking about this a lot throughout a lot of my different videos, is don't rob yourself of any power. What I mean by that is if I just start kicking from here, I'm going to be robbing myself of momentum and power here, okay? So I'm going to start with a straight leg here, okay? Almost like as if I'm swinging back, right? Kind of like you're winding up your bat to swing it, right? So I'm going to use my leg, really swing off to the side, create a lot of momentum, okay? It's the only way you're going to be able to suit somebody bigger than yourself, harnessing as much power as you possibly can on this. So I'm going to use my right leg over the top. I think I'm still in the shut this time, yeah? Bring this off this side. Let's just do 5 times each side on this. Our team kind of lost count on all that. So we're just going to go through a quick series of stretches really quick, just for both of our sakes. One leg out, one leg in. So we're working on the byte and the pendulum. It's going to be a big component of what I'm going to be showing when it comes to preemptively dealing with your opponent, maybe stacking you, or maybe you're in a triangle situation. There's a lot of things I'm going to talk about today. Hopefully I can save some material for Thursday. But that's just a mental note. Switch legs. Both legs forward. Open it up.
Butterflies. Yeah. Well, you're warm right now. Flexibility. Really helps not get injured. Oh, let's do a bit of. All right, let's go rock it up, team. We're just gonna get a quick sip of water real quick and come back on screen. We should have a quick warm up yet. All right, team. So I'm going to try to break this down layer by layer as best as I possibly can. Okay, so square one, generally when we're on our back, depending on if you're running your pace, obviously most scenarios start from standing. Obviously, in more of a dojo standpoint, you're going to be, people are flopping to guard and all that sort of thing. So I'm having in my mind that I'm a guard player. I maybe had to pull a close guard on people. Even though generally these days, if I'm starting standing, I want to take somebody down and kind of preemptively deal with that situation. And who knows? I might be trying to prove a point and be able to pull a guard and do the same move over and over. Depends on the day. But we're going to be starting from closed guard. Okay, so we're having this old school mindset that I'm not opening up my guard for anybody. Okay, so there's that old school mindset instead of back when I started coming up, like when I was a blue belt in like 2010, 2012, like all about open guard. Mendes brothers were big, and still in open guard is still in vogue, as you would say. Everything kind of goes in cycles. But I really wish I would have learned some of these concepts a lot sooner, because my basic jiu-jitsu game could have been a lot better, and I wouldn't have incurred so much damage on my body doing a bunch of other situations. I know I've shown them it's important to know moves that you may not be able to do with your own body. It's very important to see different guard structures, a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, so you don't get caught in those traps. But anyway, I'm just going to start talking about some different stuff. So I want to move Chuck off to the side here. Okay, so some major adjustments here. Okay, things that I always will do the moment I get to a closed guard. Okay, so this is very, very important. This is called the bite. Hickson Gracie calls this the bite. I don't want to go into too many other stories about the bite. I'm just going to keep those to myself. We're going to just talk about the bite here. So what is the bite? So I don't know why for so many years this is something that I did. We think that we're strong because we're on our back here and my butt's on the ground. I actually need to be activating my hips, similar to how we were just doing in the warm-up here. Okay, so I'm going to lock my hips to my opponent's hips. I brought my hips way up here, and just like we were doing before, I want to have some connection to the ground on the other side here. Depending on who you're working with, you're going to be able to get your connection ground. If they're really big, they're really tall, their hips are really high off the ground, this might not be a thing, but the taller they are, the kind of easier they are to break down at that point, right? The Chuck should be thinking about keeping his hips rooted to the ground and all that sort of thing. Everything that's good for him is bad for me, and vice versa. So I want to be breaking my opponent's posture down. There's a couple different, more over-engineered ways that we can do this, but this is the way that I want to do it. So I know we've seen this all a bunch, right? But this is just this major adjustment move. My hips are up off the ground. I can pretty much bring my hands through on either side. My hips are up, they're activated, they're connected to my opponent's hips. And furthermore, too, anything that Chuck needs to do requires him to use his hips. If he wants to just stall here and play anti-jiu-jitsu, I got some things that I'll do as well, right? But I want to be preemptive about breaking my opponent's posture down. Yeah, they got this awesome grip, right? We can address that, right? Let's just talk about open palms and stuff right now. And obviously, we know everybody gets taught a different way. I can talk about breaking that grip, but I kind of want to move another way on this. So this is more of just a basic root drill that you can use just all the time, okay? So I might not even have to use my hands on this, right? I like to kind of gauge and see how strong my body is compared to my opponent's posture, their arms and all that. But if I was just trying to use my arms, if I was just trying to use my legs, right, this is going to be a really hard sell, right? But as soon as I bring my hips connected to my opponent's hips, I'm going to be a little bit stronger here because my hips have more power, more distance between the hips and the ground there to create some power. If my hips are already on the ground, I feel like I've already kind of not wasted my power, but I've definitely underutilized the scenario that I could have been a lot stronger. Yes, underutilizing my power. I just described it a different way. So pushing off my shoulders, I have two connections, my shoulders and my feet. Okay, this is a very basic situation. It's just the closed guard, low closed guard. There's a couple different ways to put your legs. Right now I'm sitting them directly over my opponent's hips because my goal is to keep his hips on the ground. Sometimes people like to go between the hips and the ribs there, right? And that works out just as well too. Sometimes people will go more for the floating ribs and they can be really nasty on that, right? Some people are a big fan of rubber guards and all sort of thing. I'm going to kind of show some variations of high guards or different variations of closed guards that have shown me a lot of success. Anyway, I'm getting too ahead of myself. So the basic drill here, okay? I'm just going to use my legs on this. And obviously, there's going to be varying degrees of resistance from my opponent. Right now, Chuck is going to be nice about this and pretty much only make me work about as hard as I need to, right? And obviously, if we need to move the hands in, they can move inside, they can move outside. But I just want to see how strong my core can be on this. Okay, so I'm going to try to break my opponent down the same way. I'll move my head out of the way because I don't want to get smashed, right? So I'll move my head out of the way slightly. And Chuck was being really nice on this. But once everybody gets back to training and training with the resisting opponent, I really want you to test this out, okay? So you need to get your closed guard, not even thinking specifically about any move. I mean, you want to get this drilled into your brain to where you can use it at any time, right? So sometimes when we're here, we feel like we got 1,000 options, right? You know, well, there really are a bunch of options, but really the best thing to do is what your opponent's telling you to do. And if he's staying and he's sitting there and he has perfect posture, well, the first thing you should always be trying to do is break down the posture. Because it's going to be a lot of work for me to just sit up here. It's just the best thing to do right out the gate, right? So hips up, I'm going to use that big bite. I might even be able to use my hands here, outside, inside, move my head one way or the other. The only difference between this and like the way we normally do it is I'm lifting my hips up, trying to activate as much power as I can to break my opponent down, right? Whether their hands get to the outside or not is kind of up to my opponent here, okay? So like I was saying, I kind of want to over-engineer this, but I want to just show a couple different angles on this before we move on. I have more than enough time to do so. So I'm going to go hips up. Let's say my opponent wants to be pesky with their arms, right? I would like both of those hands to end up on the outside here. Okay, so I'm going to go hips up, get both of those arms out on the outside. And this is a great position here, okay, when I'm breaking my opponent's posture. If he wants to be a strong person and lift me up, he's going to do all this work for me. I know Chuck's really tired right now. I won't make him do that too much more, but he's done all that work for me. So he's going to be in a worse situation to try to pass my guard in this scenario. He needs to get his posture back because he wants to be rewarded in all those good ways, being safer against my attacks, being safer against sweeps, and being in a better position to pass himself. All those good things there. I think I remembered all those. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next thing here. Okay, so you know it might be kind of counterintuitive, but I'm actually going to kind of put my leg sort of in the stack position, but not really. Okay, my goal is to trap my opponent's arm. Okay, so just let me break it down, Chuck. So I was a huge fan back in the day, and probably still am, of like rubber guards and all this good stuff, right? But my knees aren't doing too well these days, and you know I could still do this sort of thing, but you know the risk is not really worth the reward these days. And like I said, I really wish I would have learned more basic techniques sooner because I could have been safer sooner. But don't worry, we all might have varying degrees and problems with this. So I'm going to start with a double sleeve grip on this, okay? And like I was saying, usually when I like to launch these attacks, you know, it might be a specific training situation. I might have just pulled guard out of a sparring session. Who knows, I might have recovered after a long battle of he passed me and I have to get back to guard. For me, this is the best time to be attacking, right? Either way, like I feel like this is my favorite first best option for close guard. You know, like I said, I wish I would have did this and learned this a lot sooner. So I'm gonna go hips up on this. But I'm gonna go hips low for a second because I need to get my knee inside. I prefer to bring my right leg in. It all kind of depends on how you are, right? Like I was showing, most people will stack with this left arm based on being right-handed, right? So I'm doing that bite. So, and I'm also looking to see if there's daylight. As soon as you get close guard on people, they're like a little bit frustrated, right? Like maybe I recover my guard, and then there's this moment where he's posturing up and locking down his space. And they may or not be, they may have varying degrees of casuality to this, if that makes any sense. Like we have the varying degrees of, they're locking their space up really, really tight, posturing up. A lot of them are really a little bit slow and lurching up and kind of frustrated, like, okay, like this is a position where he should not want to be here, period. You should never want to be moving backwards to somebody's closed guard or in their closed guard. So I'm going to make him pay wholeheartedly. If he stays postured up, which most of us are taught to do that, right? I kind of talked about when people lay on you. I also talk about when people will stay low and stand up. Plenty of things to talk about, but this is the main vein of the lesson today. So I'm going to open up my guard and let my hips go down. Okay, I'm going to let my hips go down. I'm driving my knee in my opponent's armpit here. Okay, like I'm saying, I got to see some daylight. This might be a little bit harder depending on how tight they are with their elbows. There's different ways to get inside there and do this scenario too. I can talk about that. But let's just say I see the daylight. I see the laziness, right? My hips are up. I'm proactive about this now. I bring my knee tight and I'm going to bring it through. Okay. So big revelation for me too. So I really wish I would have learned this position a lot sooner and just seeing it as opposed to trying to play this position, which is a BS position. You shouldn't play this position. I don't think this is a smart position to play. Where Chuck is postured and I'm playing this very kind of stupid position here. Unless you're like Harvester Gracie or somebody with amazingly long, freaky legs, right? Right now, like I feel like I'm wasting energy. And I've wasted so much energy here. Don't be that person. And then two, you're also inviting the stack, right? And obviously we have all the good options in the world to preemptively do that. But watch what you could have did for years before. This was me trying to finish triangles for freaking ever. I don't know why, right? This is stupid. It's not a smart thing to do. I mean, if you're strong as hell, you might be able to bring the guy down. Even then, you might be inviting the pass. This is just my opinion, right? You can test it. We've trained for a while. I've definitely been testing this. So I'm going to bring my leg down over my opponent's bicep and elbow joint. And I like to keep this grip. And depending on how wide my opponent's body is, right? The skinnier guys tend to get out of this a lot easier, right? But I absolutely make sure that my opponent doesn't get out of this by keeping this grip here, okay? If you want to be a real bully about this, you might even be able to start trying to crank this arm. I'm usually not a big fan of that because I have so much other things in front of me that I kind of like to do at this point. So like I said, I was over-engineering this breakdown, but let me show this position again. Here, nope, he's already a little bit lazy, right? Then I throw my leg over, okay? Kind of specifically, I like curling this leg and then trapping over the other because there's just a little bit more space the other way. I'm pretty sure I'm consciously doing that every time. One, then the other. This makes a lot of sense, and I'm keeping this nice and tight. And I'm kind of like in this middle guard. And this is great, right? Anytime you lock somebody's arm up, that's what you want to do. You want an uneven battle in jiu-jitsu. I'm inherently lazy, Gumby would say it, and I'm very much inherently lazy in a lot of aspects of my life, right? But I'm in this scenario where I'm definitely in a better situation to break my opponent down. So now I only have one arm to deal with breaking my opponent's posture down. Furthermore, too, from the double under, I can still do the same thing, right? This is even worse for him, right? I try to do everything I can to make sure that these hands don't get together. And this is really bad for my opponent. Obviously, you can see a lot of good things about to happen here. I can choke him. I can bring him over. I can sweep him. I can do a lot of things from here. I might even be able to go double wrist lock from here or something ridiculous, which is something I should probably explore more. Anyway, we all learn things together at the same time. So my hips are up, using that situation. Yeah, they might be doing that too. I'll pull that out of the way. Right? He's trying to go into that nerve. You know, we all learned that probably the first couple of weeks of jiu-jitsu, right? Because we should have been probably doing something else. Kind of more of an MMA thing. You know, it's a grappling thing. Let's just say that. You know, bring my knee in, scraping, and I'm going to throw it over. Okay, depending on who you are, I know I'm really flexible, right? You might need to bring your hips back a little bit, and I'm still using this leg to kind of curl. This is very, very important, right? That's going to cause him to posture back up because he's like, oh, this is bad. Always their alarm bells are going to go off. Like the moment he brings his posture down willingly, he's putting himself in a triangle, right? He's not going to do that willingly. He's going to stay postured up as much as they possibly can. Sometimes they even stand up, but I'm not going to talk about that. I can show the same move that I would do if they stood up versus we're in this position. Okay, so we do that just one more time. Reverse, bring the knee in. Now I'm here. Like I said, I'm a big fan of doing it on one side, but you can do it on both. It's good to mess with them, right? As soon as because they might have been struggling here. Maybe I forgot about this arm, right? And they go in. That really messes with them. Like, into the fire again, right? And I have a couple of training partners that if they're paying attention, they notice I'm doing the same thing over and over and they get frustrated. They vocalize to me and I like it. You should never vocalize for your opponent. I'm saying this a lot. You should try to be stone-faced and just chill because it's your war. It's not their war. Little open, try. Here we go. So I wanted to make that longer just so you see what's going on. This is a very important position to me. So I like to make sure this is extremely secure, right? Try to make sure there's no space there. I might be able to keep both of these grips, right? But a lot of time I'm just gonna let go and start thinking about this arm here. Okay, so I have my hips up, everything's awesome, right? And I'm gonna bring myself, bring my opponent down. Knees over my hip line, more over to this side. I mean, I can bring them down the same way here, but then I'm not necessarily limiting myself, but I would be in the options of more shoulder locks, right? I wanna get my opponent's arms out of my vision, basically. I want him looking at the mat. Basically, those good concepts in jiu-jitsu or grappling and clinching guard. Always keep your opponent between your arms. I don't want to be in between my opponent's arms. Okay. So here, open, track. I'm gonna keep this as long as it seems necessary. I'm gonna break my opponent down. So I'm gonna go hips up, hips down. And I'm gonna break my opponent to the side here. I'm gonna reach and I'm gonna grab the lat. I don't necessarily have to be up. I can be down from here. Right. This is a great position. I love this position here. Okay. Just gonna set that up a couple times from some different angles before I move on, because this, like I said, the main vein of the lesson is that position. All the beautiful things that happen from there, in my opinion. In, trap. Okay. Gonna do what I can. You can double up on this for a moment, right? But don't make sure you don't lose this other one. Okay, in the meantime, I'm not gonna be sticking around here long. You know, it's kind of a cool position to chill for a minute. There's different positions that we do. Anyway, I'm gonna break you down. Now, if I can also gift wrap that arm while I can. But in this case, a lot of times I stay really strong. I'm gonna keep their elbow up. I can be up, I can be down. It all depends on what I want to do. If I want to sweep my opponent, this hand will be going into the leg. If I want to go arm bar, I'll be reaching for the wrist. A lot of good things. Go another angle. Looks like we're in a shot. And once again, right leg over the left leg, break my opponent down. I'm in a great position here. Chuck's got an arm trap. He's looking at the mat. I basically have a side guard. This is a great position. Imagine if I was in mount, which I will be getting to mount at some point, right? One last angle, maybe seeing the Chuck's backside will help. See, from the bite, leg. I'm still keeping my leg connected to the ground in this one. That's why I do it a little bit. Sometimes I'll curl on the back to keep myself. So you see all those details on the back there. Here, right? Try to keep my hips up, right? If there's not enough space, hips up, put down, right? Keeping the connection is good too. For hips up, down. Break my opponent down. And I'm keeping my core activated because he's just gonna want to get back up. I gotta keep my core activated. Okay. So there's a bunch of different options from there. It all kind of depends on the opponent, how heavy they are. So generally my first thought is, you know, the arm's right there. They don't have much defense there. I like to try to stretch the arm out. So I have 2 sweeps either direction, just a good old fashioned pendulum sweep over to one side and an easy kind of sit up sweep to the other. And like maybe the last ditch effort is taking the back from there. And that's generally the circles that you'll go in with most jiu-jitsu positions. Oh, and obviously I'm going to be showing a route to the omoplata at that point too. There's also a really good position there. I watch a lot of matches, like black metal matches. I always look for the quickest ones so I don't have to be sitting there for too long because, you know, quite frankly, they get kind of boring. But that's why I'm looking for the submissions. And I'm looking for tools and concepts that maybe I've missed or maybe I forgot about. And some of these are all kind of from those matches. I'm sorry I can't give any credit to some of the dudes. There's just so many good black belts out there, but I'm trying to pay attention and try to put forth as much information as possible. Because that's obviously my job. So it's good for me to be checking those things out. So this is kind of coming from that kind of a mindset of I've seen all these concepts that work really well, and now somehow it's all kind of coming together. So without talking too much more, let's try to figure out the best angle for this. Let's go over here. I think so. We should be fine. Just making sure, team. All right, so let's go. Same old thing. High guard, high middle guard, whatever you want to talk about. Don't really invent it. Just kind of seeing the writing on the wall. So boom. Okay. So if I can keep his arms separated, this is awesome, right? If he wants to continue to stack, he's going to be in a bad situation. But I'm just going to go wrist to wrist, and I'm going to grab my collar. Okay. This is going to create a lot of torque on his shoulder. He's going to be compelled to kind of straighten his arm out if he knows what's good for him. So if Chuck doesn't want to straighten his arm out from here, I know he doesn't have a lot of flexibility. Like that's already, things aren't going good for him. So when I know I'm going to start straightening this out, I'm going to switch my cross foot to this scenario. And actually, in actuality, you don't need to open it up, but from here, I feel like I'm going to have a lot of control. So I'm going to use this far hand that was here near the elbow. Like, so there's a lot of different ways to do this. I'm just going to show this first version of how to do it. I'm going to go here, and I basically have him already. I'm keeping his wrist facing this direction here. I don't want to go fully belly down. Okay. And the great thing about this is if you kept lifting my leg, this is just going to chop over to the triangle anyway. Okay. And all I have to do to finish this is just gently thrust my hip to the side. I'm not going over my neck. I'm not spinning through. I'm not doing anything overcomplicated. Really, my leg should be stopping those hips from going wild and crazy. If he somehow turns back towards me, he's turning into his doom at that point. Right. Pretty self-explanatory. Breaking down. Already got this arm. Right. Got the leg. I controlled the wrist in this case. You can keep the elbow depending on what crazy person you're dealing with. Yeah, some people have some crazy shoulders. Right. So that's already a finish. I just keep the wrist thrusting him toward. If he turns back toward me for some crazy reason, he's turning himself into a triangle. Let me show a different angle. Already where I want to be. Yep. Hard to see there, but you can see different details. Move back. Keep that head down. Chop. Sorry, Chuck. And then as soon as I squish down, as soon as I get this full heel down, he's going to be tapping every time. That's why you see me being kind of lazy, because I like Chuck and I want him to keep coming in. That's maybe just a little last angle, same good angle. Actually, sound effects and all. Break that and have an idea of what you're doing. Right? If he straightens his arm out there, I mean, I don't know how good that's going to be. If he straightens his arm out, he might get caught here too. This is a go-to as well. I can show that too in a minute. Boom. Here. Keep tight, right? Everything's going to be good for you. If he re-squares, like I said, triangle. But I'm going to keep him away with my hips, and I can finish straight away from him. Yeah? Yeah. Sometimes he might be able to keep this crossed here. See? So watch him. See how far away he is from me, but sometimes they're too close. But see how I still have my legs crossed? And really, I just need this one hand to finish that. Nice and sideways. So while we're talking about arm locks, let's go and talk about that reverse arm lock really quick. I found a lot of success with that one. Obviously, this arm is just right for the taking here. So open, track. Okay. So this class is supposed to be like preemptive defense, but sometimes your best defense is offense. Okay. Especially if this person thinks that they're going to stack me. Who knows? Maybe them just going under invited this doom. Right now, I'm choosing to put them in this scenario. It's really, really hard for him to break my legs open at this point. I got some really freaking strong legs after so many years of jiu-jitsu. It's going to be very difficult for him to do that with just his arm. Imagine that, team. His whole arm is against my whole body right now. My legs, everything, my core, and my arms. My arms are working for me. Right? He's doing everything he can. This is annoying. Anyway,
So instead of bringing this arm to the side, let's say I went over and around, okay? So I'm gonna go over and around, and I'm gonna bring that into my armpit, okay? There's a lot of different ways to do this one. Okay, I might be able to reach inside here and go here, right? I might have just moved this off to the side and caught it. Like I said, a lot of different ways to do this one. So let's just reach inside here. That's a good way to do it here. Break down, see I'm blocking my opponent, and now I'm moving the top here. I definitely need to get an angle, so I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. Put my foot on the hip, and I'm driving my knee over the top of his shoulder. This bottom leg is still trapping, and he still has the same trap in order. If he wants to go triangle, he's gonna get triangle, right? I'm gonna keep him off to the side. So the trick with this one is making sure that there's space between your opponent's elbow and the mat, and you are not in the way of it. So I've seen this taught a bunch of different ways. I'm a big fan of kind of just going Monteleone grip on this, right? There's some people that are gonna go crazy with the wrist, but I wanna try to keep this pinched as much as possible. When these come really fast, so be very, very cautious with this. Gumby likes to teach the forearm here, gable grip, forearm and the elbow, right? I just like grabbing tight on this, and usually when this fails for me, it's because I didn't get enough angle and somebody's really, really strong. So I'm just gonna continue to put pressure, elbow down to the mat. And I know there's no space, and all I have to do is just flex on this a little bit, and I'm not gonna do that, because that one hurts really bad. In, trap, out, in. And I just made a slight adjustment here. I felt like I didn't have the arm, so I just straightened my body out a little bit, pinch, hug, and that's gonna be finished. And if that comes out, same old thing going. You got the same thing going on. Oh, I love connections. Oh, just really quick, team. I'm just feeling really parched. I just need to get a quick sip of water. Where'd I put it? Where'd I put some water? I'm just checking the time too. We're doing good.
All right, team, while we're here in that same position, go for triangle. So
Usually, so if somebody hadn't seen this position, and I'm like, what's the thing that you would worry about the most from here, Chuck? What else is very bad? What is the definition of one arm in, one arm out? Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Don't worry, we're seeing. Sometimes that's the thing people are the most terrified of, because they have one arm in, one arm out. They'll posture up, right? But I'm gonna over-engineer this triangle. Right? I'm gonna do everything I can to get this triangle now, because I might have been thinking about arm, I've been thinking about scoop here, whatever it is, not working out, right? So I'm gonna use the hips up and down motion, that bite. Okay, this over-engineered bite. I'm gonna break them down, but I'm only gonna break them down as much as I need to. Okay, I'm gonna go to the head. My foot is gonna go on the mat or on the hip. Okay, on the mat or on the hip, depending on who you are on this. Okay, your flexibility. Gonna get some angle, chop at the same time, and he's gonna finish. Make sure his head is facing more the mat, and if you need to go under, is that just the emblem? Yes, it is well, after I showed a bunch of arm bars, of course Chuck is more worried about the arm. But yes, there is a glaring problem here. And furthermore, too, while you're inside here, if you can see that your opponent's being lazy, there's nothing preventing you now from sitting up and going for Kimura, which will also reroute to here, which will also reroute to here, which will also reroute to here. Okay. And try doing what I can. So I want to go triangle now. So I'm going to start to break him down. I pass one thing to the other. I want to trap my opponent's head. He's all the way down here. That's fine, but I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want him to be stacking me too much past my hip line, because it's going to be hard for me to make this adjustment. So always protect the integrity of your body. About a 90-degree angle is a good one. Anytime you start to get smashed there, yeah, that's going to be bad for you. Anytime you're flat is also horrid. So we're here, move this down. I'm kind of moving out of the way, right? That's why we're trying to always get out of the way of our opponent. This is very important because we're trying to get our angle. Foot on the hip. Controlling his posture with my hand on his head, okay? I used to be a huge fan of controlling here, but what ends up happening is they just burst out of that, right? Head bursts out. Like I said, definitely taking lots of pages out of Gumby's book these days after long scope of jujitsu sort of thing, right? Some of us might be stubborn and don't want to listen sometimes, but don't worry, like it all comes back around for you to figure it out, like for real. I'm even stubborn still on things. So grab the head. I keep him down because how's he gonna get back up? This is going to be very difficult for him to get back up. Chop, finish. Sorry. That's that realism there. And furthermore, too, I don't think I can go too much further in it, but I want to point out. Yeah. I still have the omoplata in my back pocket. But what's cool about this position also, obviously, I just showed a choke. But what's great about this is, yeah, exactly, the collar choke. If I can kind of get this out of the way, and start getting one arm inside the collar, you maybe start to fight this one, right? Use my legs to break them down. I can go under, I can go over, depending on what's going on with my opponent. If you're really slick about this, if you're getting a lapel out sooner, right? Might be able to still go for the same position, right? Boom, break them down. Now I'm going to be looking for this lapel, right? Just making sure that it's out. This is a great control. This is really, really hard to get out of, right? And Kean has all kinds of crazy, his variation of his rubber lapel guard, which is pretty gnarly from there. But this is an insanely good position here, right? Hard, very hard for him to go in or go anywhere, right? And this is all just from closed guard, stuff that a lot of us neglect, stuff a lot of us are just so willing to let go of, right? You know, a lot of interesting things happen from here. He's going to give up something. This is more for my control, but obviously at some point this can be an ace in the hole for a choke, right? Never sleep on a grip, as some would say. Oh, almost said that. All right. Let's talk about the omoplata, okay? Which obviously can also lead into the triangle and all that good stuff. So right now, instead of going to that high mid guard sort of thing, I'm gonna use another one of those things that I was talking about. Like I've been watching a lot of black belt matches and that sort of thing. So I know we've been talking about spider and all this sort of thing, and this is kind of a revelation for me of how much I've neglected pressing down on the elbow here. Okay, so this is going to be a pressing down on the elbow technique from open guard. Okay, so I'm going to go here, same old thing. I'm keeping my back leg curled so I can keep my hips activated, so I can keep them mobile and all that good stuff. I'm going to go foot on the bicep. Okay, so I have it in my mind that I'm going to go straight for the omoplata in this position. Instead of doing, obviously this all comes from basic techniques like the foot on the hip situation and turning. Everybody knows their basic arm bar for the most part, right? So it's the same thing, right foot. So I'm gonna do a couple things at once. I'm gonna get my angle, I'm gonna shove that wrist into my hip, okay? I'm gonna get my angle, and I'm gonna shove my wrist, or his wrist into the hip there. My wrist also into my hip. What makes this strong is that I'm going hips up and shoving at the same time. This is a very strong position. So where I want him to move, I move him, okay? And obviously there's a lot of good things that can happen from here. I'm gonna go leg over the head. And we have the same position that I was showing, pretty sure last week, blocking the hip, blocking the head, and kind of in this in-between position. And there's a lot of good things that can happen from here. I can hit my kimura, once again, and spin, right? If I want to, I can open this up, back to triangle. You should always have this circle in mind. And who knows, I might have went here, that feels like that didn't work. I have to go back to there, right? Always try the easy thing. If I see, oh, he went way over there, now I have him. There's a lot of cool things that we can do from here, right? I can scoop under here, grab to the other side. We all know that good stuff. Keeping this tight. If I want to get to my omoplata, oh, he's sitting, so he's telling me what to do. Let's go ahead and sit up. You know, we have our sweeps back and forth. I was definitely talking about a lot of that. That's more last week. Okay, so I'm just going to show a bunch of different angles on that, and maybe review everything I showed for the most part. Oh, you know, and I forgot a couple things too. That's fine. I could save them for, I will focus more on submission. I completely forgot about doing the sweeps today, but that's fine. That's completely fine. Omoplata. It's good that these positions are very rich with technique. So there's a lot of things from you show. Sometimes, maybe sometimes I talk too much. You're here, hips up, turn. Now we're here. Okay, depending on what you want to do, it's all kind of up to you, right? So the reverse arm lock, regular arm lock. You can go to the omoplata, you can go to the Kimura. I can open up back to here depending on what he does, right? If I feel like this is not going to be the thing to do, he postures back up again. Here we are again. Right? And you can do all the same scenario. So while we're here, hips up, boom, turn to there. Hips up, turn. And see how my leg is breaking them down. Replace one control with the other, right? Lots of good things can happen for me if I want to. All in motion, open, sweep, all kinds of good stuff. All right, let's go to review mode. Very first thing I talked about, just the bite. Like even without throwing your legs in, right? I'm here. I'm not even using my hands sometimes. I'm thinking about what can I do with my whole body other than my hands? Because usually they're biting your grips, they're throwing grips off. Doesn't quite matter to me. I'm just gonna see how well I can break my point down, right? Sometimes as he goes up, maybe wrist lock going on there, who knows, right? So I feel I'm in a good scenario to launch this move. So with knee in, trap, okay? So the first thing I showed was breaking your opponent down to the side, and now we're here. Yep, this first arm position here. So I showed opening, trapping the elbow, finish, right? Sometimes you can keep this closed and still finish that up, right? When you're here and they push you back, might be able to go triangle over, control the head, finish. We're here, so we go to reverse arm locks here. So I'm gonna go inside, a lot of different ways to do this, a lot of different ways to be able to push this arm off. I'm gonna go inside, and now I'm here. I gotta adjust my leg so I can control the shoulder, pinching the knees. I'm just gonna go downward and finish. If he spins, same old thing. If he spins, same old thing, control the head. And it's kind of like a little bit of a slip triangle position. Oh, I got a triangle. So we're here, boom. Okay, I wanna go triangle. So it's up to me right now. So I'm gonna go move the arm across, bring the head down. Okay, protect the integrity of my body. Looks good to me. Foot on the hip, finish. That felt pretty tight. That was tight. Last thing, omoplata. Bring it up, hips up, turn. Omoplata position, right? You can kind of, to each your own on this. A lot of different things might happen from here. Once again, scoop the leg. They might move back, right? Who knows, they might even do this to you, right? This happens a lot. Might be able to just reroute, attack. So many things going on. All right, team, let's tie my gi. Look pretty. Let's do our quick basic cool down. Go arms up, twist our hips forward. Take breath in, exhale out. Do another one. Take breath in. Exhale out. On this exhale, I'm gonna touch those toes. A couple deep breaths on your own pace. We'll walk out to my hands again. Dive on in, right leg in the center. Or, sorry, left leg. I don't know my right from my left. This one's got a hole in it. Let's switch it up. I'll sit down for that. Windshield wiper. Again. One more time. Opposite leg, opposite arm. For sure. All right, time team.
Once again, it's gonna be the last week of this style of format. Basically, meaning just kind of less free classes and things are gonna get switched over to our online site. I'm not sure what the link is quite yet. Anyway, appreciate you. Like and subscribe. Once again, Heroes Martial Arts, Charles Walker, it's been Trevor Ireland. Appreciate everybody. Hopefully staying safe and doing what you gotta do to stay sane.